What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is part 2 to a video I did recently called 10 tips your stylist wish that you knew. I'll leave that link in the description box below. Today we're coming back with 10 tips that you wish your stylist knew. So if you are wanting to relay some information to your stylist but you're worried about having an awkward conversation about it, this video is going to make it easy. You can simply share it on your page and organically let those stylists know things you wish they already knew. So if you want to know 10 tips, let's get into the video. What I did was I posted this video idea onto a couple different social media platforms, and I asked you guys, what were the things that you wish you could tell your stylist? What were the things that you felt like you couldn't relate to them because it was awkward, but you wish that they knew? So I compiled from the most requested things, and I just made a list of the top 10 most requested things. So here we go. Let's go through the list. So the first thing that you guys wanted your stylist to know was that you welcome styling tips. This was a big one. A lot of people felt like they could not recreate the styles that they were being given at the salon. No matter how much they loved them, they were not able to recreate them at home. So guys, your clients are looking for tips on how to recreate that style. Let them know if they need a special type of product or type of iron or blow dryer, brush, etc., etc. They want to know, and be honest with them. If they cannot create that style without these items, let them know that as well, because at least you told them, even if they decide they don't want to purchase it or change everything out, they're looking at you for the advice. That being said, the second thing on our list after styling tips was that you wanted the stylist to respect your opinion. As much as you value their opinion as the professional, you also want a stylist that's going to be open to your input. Many people who've had multiple services or many different haircuts or have reached a certain age have tried different types of styles and colors, and so they know if maybe some of those things went awry. If they sat under the processor for an extra long amount of time, they might say, hey, my hair doesn't lift well. I've heard stylists tell me in the past that my hair is hard to lift. If the client is telling you that, be open to that. That might be your saving grace. You might need to up that developer a little bit to get them the color that they're looking for, and they are speaking from experience, so be open to their opinion. Also, that being said, sometimes as stylists, our aesthetic and the client's aesthetic are completely different. Now, granted, I know that this is a walking billboard for you, and it's hard sometimes to let people walk out the door with something that you feel like is not your best work or your suggestion, but also it's our job as a service provider to provide that service. So sometimes clients need to try something before they realize it's not a good idea, and so be open to their opinion. They want to be able to communicate that with you. Teach them how to style their hair, be open to their opinion. So that brings me to my third thing on our list, and that is that they have a sensitive scalp. Now, I know as hairdressers, a lot of us, we get moving around and we forget what it feels like to have foils pulled from our hair or round brushes whipped through our hair, because a lot of times hairdressers aren't getting their hair done quite as often because we're, too busy behind the chair. And many hairstylists do not wash their hair very often either. And so, us getting a blowout is sometimes few and far between. Sometimes we forget how that feels when you're actually in the chair. So be mindful of that. Nothing's worse than when you walk by a salon and you see the clients just like getting whipped around and the stylist is just like, well, hey, that's how I do it, or I move fast. Remember, this is supposed to be a relaxing treat for them, so let's not torture them. So be careful with their scalp. They want you to know that. The fourth thing on my list, which was very much requested, was how much to tip. Okay, this is a touchy subject. I've heard all different reasons why people tip the way that they tip. My suggestion to you is you should always tip on the service. So if you got an amazing experience, you should tip accordingly. I typically tip 20%, which is how I tip when I'm dining out. That's how I tip when I'm getting my hair done. That's how I tip the dog groomer. I tip 20%. Now, that's my personal opinion. If you always tip 15, then that's your prerogative, but that's how I tip. The second thing is a lot of people, when someone goes out on their own and they're self-employed, they don't feel that they need to tip anymore. I do not agree with that. I feel like they're still a service provider, and now they're absorbing the expenses of a business owner. And so I still, whether I'm seeing a gal who's renting a studio, owns a studio, works at a salon on commission, no matter the circumstance, I tip on the service. Now, if the service is poor, customer service, or the result isn't what you were looking for, then you can decide if you want to, tip more or less, whatever. That's my personal preference. Again, it's up to you. Tip what you can afford. If you are scraping together so that you can go see that awesome stylist and you do not have a large hair budget and you can only afford to tip, you know, X amount of dollars, let that stylist know that you absolutely adore what they're doing and that you are maxing out your budget in order to see them. I promise you they'll be understanding. Our sixth tip in our list is, this is kind of a funny one, but it did come up a few times, and that is that clients do not like to be turned towards the chair without a cape on. It's pretty much the most unflattering angle to be like, rah, like just a floating head of, So put a cape on them while they're facing you, then spin them around and talk about the consultation. It's just a preference that a lot of people have. So don't talk to them until you get that cape on, or at least don't turn them around so they can see, you know, all of this. Like people just, it's just not a good angle. It's like if I filmed like chins, you know, I'm like filming from the sky. So you get it. Okay, so that was the sixth tip, was another much reoccurring tip, and that was that the client does not like it when we talk to other stylists during the service. This doesn't happen a lot, but I know there are some times where, you know, these are your coworkers, you get along with them, you know, bounce ideas off each other, and it's easy to get into small talk conversation, especially if it's a client you've had multiple times and you feel comfortable with them. But remember, this is a guest in your chair, and I don't care if it's the first visit or the 100th visit, but they don't want to hear you visit with other stylists or other stylists client. They want you to be focused in on them, paying attention to them. And it's just, I feel like it's just a little bit rude. I know we don't do it intentionally, and I'm definitely guilty of doing it. The stylists want to talk to you and only you, or I'm sorry, the client wants you to talk to them and focus on them and make them feel special. So try to keep the chit chat and small talk with other people to a minimum during the service. The next tip on my list is that environment matters. Now, they are there to relax. And a lot of clients, I would say the majority of my clients, maybe 90% of them were women. And of that 90%, I would say 75% of those people had kids. And so when they were in my salon, they did not want to be around kids. And I know that sounds harsh, but so what I would recommend to you is, if you are a salon that is doing a lot of children's haircuts, book them accordingly with other kids. So it's very easy to throw in a kid's haircut while one of your regulars is processing. But if you just got her all relaxed and she's having a glass of wine and she's feeling good, and then in that 30 minutes of downtime that she has, which might be the only 30 minutes she gets in that week, she's listening to someone else's kid scream and cry about a haircut. Kids cry, I know, and there's nothing sometimes they just cry, and as parents it's tough, and I get that, but just be mindful, they're paying you for a service, so take your books and book them accordingly. Batch kids together, don't double book kids. It's just so important, I think, to create a nice environment. And that being said, it needs to also be a clean environment. Make sure that there's not a bunch of hair in your brushes or hair in your drawer or hair on the floor. And I know there will be hair on the floor, but I mean like in like the corners, these big gross dust balls. Sit in your processing area, because if you sit in your processing area and you look around, you're gonna see from a bird's eye view of what the client sees, and you need to take note of what that area looks like and make sure that it looks sanitary, because they're getting a service from you and it is a business. Treat it like a business, clean it up, make it nice. Our next tip, which is kind of goes into environment, is that the little extras really matter to those clients. What are little extras? Little extras are, great magazines. Maybe it's a cell phone charger. I used to have a couple cell phone chargers in my processing area. Nothing's worse than getting there and your phone is about to die and you have, kids at home or things going on. Have a charger there for them. I also used to have a little dish of non-messy, healthy snacks. Some of these women are rushing from work or rushing from home with kids, and they're trying to get to the appointment and they're starving. And so having those little touches, maybe it's wine, maybe it's, a soda or a water, whatever it is, those little extras really make the difference. That being said, another little extra that sometimes people forget about is if they're coming in to do a waxing service, I always like to keep a couple different types of concealers, because if someone's on a lunch break and they want to get their brows waxed, they don't want to go back to work with these like Rudolph red eyebrows. So things like that really go a long way. Having a little makeup to do little touch-ups if need be. It doesn't have to be a full face, but that way they can go about their day. They're gonna thank you for that, and it's just the little things that add up. So environment matters, and don't forget the little things. The next thing on our list, 9, is a big one, and it drives me crazy. And I used to pride myself in this as a stylist, but I see it all the time. And I had clients come in and they would say things to me about getting color all over their face. So they would go in for a service and they would have a stain all around their face or on their neck, and they would have to, just wait for it to wear off. They'd scrub and scrub and it wouldn't come off. Girls, boys, invest in barrier cream, not lotion, not conditioner, barrier cream. It goes on and it protects this area and your clients will love you for it. And it's super cheap. It's like between $5 and $7. Just takes a little bit. Barrier cream your clients, go the extra mile. Also, if you're doing painting color and things like that, put a cape on them and a towel around it, and another cape if you have to, so that after you're done painting, you can easily remove those messy capes. It protects their clothes, it protects the salon chairs and everything else. So invest in some barrier cream. Your clients will thank you for it. They do not want to leave the salon looking like a painted canvas, especially like ears, foreheads, things like that. That was a big one that kept coming up. And the 10th and final tip that your clients want you to know is that they want to be treated like a first-time guest every time. This is so hard, especially if you've been doing hair for years and years and years. You have your people, you know, oh, Crystal won't mind. I've been doing her hair for 10 years. She's cool. We can just, you know, do this or finagle this. You guys, you just never know the kind of day that they're having. We should be so grateful that they have been loyal to us all of these years. And so take this time, take this information and love on those loyal guests that you have. Pat your books a little bit this next visit and tell them how much you appreciate their business. Pretend like they're a brand new client in your chair. Give them a fresh consultation, a fresh look at their hair. Offer something new, even if they don't want it. At least they know that you're trying and you care and you're treating them like a first-time guest. So those are the 10 tips that your clients wish that you knew. I hope these were helpful to you guys. If you're guilty of these, don't worry. That's what this video is for. It's just to raise awareness so that we can do better. Also, if you are a client and you wish that your stylist could see this video, don't forget to share it with your friends. It's meant to be helpful. The stylists, they love you. They love what they do. They work really hard. And so let's give them some grace and let's all just have an awesome visit the next time at the salon. I like videos like this. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button here in the corner so that you never miss a video with me again. Also, if there's something I missed that you wish was in this video, leave a comment below so we can share it in the next one. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.